The one I ended to start this one. And I don't know what link she had. So I'm about to copy this link. This means one I ended to start this one. And I don't know what link she had. So I'm about to copy this link.
It say you're going live on YouTube right now.
What says that?
YouTube.
Yeah. But it has a delay. I'm talking now, and then you'll hear it in a minute. But it has a delay. I'm talking now, and then you'll hear it in a minute.
Yeah, I see that.
So what happens if I close YouTube? Will it continue to stream? Yes, it will, won't it? Because I'm just hearing what you're hearing.
Yeah, but I'm going live on YouTube.
All right, so I just killed it, so I can't hear it. Okay, good. Now let me send this link to Kalani now. Paste. What?
I was just laughing at the delay.
Well, we're live on YouTube and I am messing around, but what I'm doing is I am getting myself together because we are going to be underwriting a deal here in just a few minutes. So I am doing that. But that link on Zoom was real, wasn't it? Yep. So I didn't have to delete that post.
You deleted the post on Facebook?
I did.
Link on Facebook was great. That's how I was able to get on here.
Well, let me put it back. Because what I had said, we was going live on Facebook. And I thought, oh, I said on Zoom, didn't I? Yeah. So can you go back to deleted posts? Not that you're aware of. Okay. Yeah. I think okay, where's the link? Maybe I can post it. Yeah, there we go. And post. That's the real one right there. Oh, it's just 6:01, so I'm right on time. So I'm a couple of minutes early. Let me call Brittany.
Are you going to call me back?
You can stay on. BRITT. I didn't shave today. I look great.
Hi.
Hey, are you on? I'm sorry.
I think you kicked me out.
I thought so. So that link that I sent to you just now in an email, share that one with the group. I don't know what happened. But okay. But I'm on now and I posted it on Facebook also.
Okay, got it.
Okay. See you in a minute.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, that's what I figured. I don't know which Zoom she was on because that meeting didn't show up when I went to our meetings page. So anyway. All right, let's see, Ariel. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'll see you in a little bit.
To set up your phone and then still do like a Facebook Live.
Nah, I don't know how to do that.
Or even go live on Instagram.
Brittany and them they will try to do it on Facebook some kind of way. But how? I don't know how. She was gonna try to do it on StreamYard. Almost like a podcast. Oh, she just sent the updated link.
Okay, well, I'll see you on that.
Okay, thanks. See you in a minute. Bye. Well. Hey, everybody, if anybody, somebody. And there's Miss Brittany.
Okay, I got it. It took me a minute, but I'm in.
Awesome. Did you have to register?
Yeah, I had to register.
Okay.
There's Kaylani.
There's Kaylani.
I'm still trying to make some things work on my end too.
Kaylani, you in the airport? This thing is live on YouTube. I thought Zoom went live on Facebook, but it does not.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm losing
Just
track
found
of
that out.
things can do.
Yeah, I thought that we could do that. I thought I had done that before. Well, I know I did it before, but maybe David was standing over my shoulder, making it look like something that it wasn't. That's probably what was going on.
That is probably what's going on.
So let me see. I need a pro forma, don't I?
Yep.
One that works. One that we know works. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second.
I will probably come on camera in just a second too.
And we are going to record this. Let's share my screen. Well.
I see your screen.
Let's use this one. I know this one works. All right. And we are going to save this. So what we are doing, we are working on a pro forma for an opportunity that we found in Dallas. And we want to see if it's going to be a good deal at the purchase price that the lady is asking for it based on the amount of rents we think that we can pay for it. So that's what we are going to do. And I'm going to save that on my desktop for now. And we are going to call it South Street, Dallas. All right. So what are we going to name the property?
That's a good question. I'm horrible at naming things, so I would not suggest you ask me.
All right, so we're going to call it right now. Was it 2901 or was it 3021? The address?
I don't remember. I just remember South Street.
How about that? 3021 apartments. 3021 APTS. And I'm going to just put this. Do you remember the address, Brittany?
I don't. I think Kehlani might have it.
Okay.
Check the chat, y'all. Check the chat.
Okay.
I put it in there.
Check the chat. Hey, chat box working. What does it say, Britt?
It says 3019 South Boulevard.
All right. 3019. What's up, Mr. Marshall? How are you? We're going to say this thing was built in 1960 because we don't know. We'll call the whole period 7 years. It's market as one building. Now, this is where, because we don't have any historical financial information, we did this on the back of a napkin. So we are going to do this on the back of a piece of paper tonight. And this is a real life way of trying to size a deal that we don't know anything about. So we're going to see if this is going to work or not. So for T12, that T12 NOI, I don't know if I want to touch that yet, but CoStar Market Dallas, CoStar Submarket Dallas, South Dallas. How about that? Because there's a distinction between Dallas and South Dallas. And we'll call that 1 acre of land. And we're going to grow rents. So this piece here, this is typically where you can see this is where my pro forma starts. I've got some notes section down here if I want to make some notes. This dashboard section carries over from the information that is input here. So this is the input tab, and this is the one that is really, really the one that works. This pro forma just spits out all the information from the information here, and that gives us a indication if it works based on debt service coverage ratios and all kind of things down here as far as cash flow, percentages, equity. That's your gross IR on the project at 30%. That's this other deal. And then we had a 31% investor return. So pretty dynamic, but this thing does just about everything I needed to do. I have not used it before with an existing property. So this is going to be really interesting, but it's all the same. Methods are many, principles are few. Methods always change, but principles never do. So right now we're going to call this thing physically vacant of 100%. And why are we going to do that? Because we want everybody that's in there out of there. And why is that? It's unsafe for them. Am I saying that we are displacing anybody? No, what I am saying is that we are going to allow people to go somewhere else that's better for them to live than this particular community. That's the way we put that. It's all a play on words, but it's really true. And so what we are predicting here with this pro forma is that for year one, and this will be a good exercise. It will not take a year to put this thing back together, but year one, we've got 100% vacancy, and then we're forecasting just a 3% vacancy going forward. This is not based on typical rents because we're going to do a master lease with a tenant that'll make this work. But we're going through the exercise to see what that needs to be in order for it to work. Economic vacancy in year one. Well, we know that it's 100% vacant, but going forward, what we forecast for an economic vacancy is about 2 or 3%. And I think here in this particular market, I'm probably going to forecast a 3% bad, and this is bad debt. And so that bad debt basically means that I'm going to have 3% of my tenants living on that property and not paying me rent. Now, do I want that? Absolutely not. Does that happen? It absolutely does happen where you have people that do not pay rent, and you have to deal with that. And so I'm also going to put a 5% vacancy factor here across. So what that means is effectively, we're operating this property at 92% of the income. Okay. So that's a 5% vacancy and a 3% economic factor. That means we're not getting 8% of the rents. Now, what I would do, because this is an existing property, we will probably have to come back to this T12 and T3 numbers here in just a minute, because what we had done was we had estimated some of the expenses and income that this particular property had, just knowing the rent makeup or the tenant makeup that she has. So I'm going to stop right here for a commercial break because we're going to post this later, and it's going live on YouTube right now, that we want to have anybody just go check out the Women in Real Estate. I believe you can find the Women in Real Estate group definitely on Instagram, women.in.realestate, real.estate, something like
No,
that.
you had it right the first time, women.in.real estate. And I'm on the back end, I'm really trying to make sure that it's streaming to our Facebook group and some of my personal platforms. So I'm trying to work through technical difficulties. So hopefully people are able to see it on those platforms as well.
Awesome. And so, join the Women in Real Estate, and then Multifamily Monopoly. Check us out. If you really want to know how to dig in with me and do this, this is what I do on a daily basis. We teach this. We have a 3-day boot camp. We've got a 12-month extensive course. And then we've got a mastermind with me and Vina Jetty where we do all things multifamily. And that mastermind is starting up sometime in September. So check us out, multifamilymonopoly.com. So we'll come back to this, but what we know here is that we know that we've got a few. So Brittany, I'm going to ask you to help me with this. You've got the unit mix, right?
No, I don't have any of the info. I think Standis might have it or Kilani has it, but I felt like we had 43 2 units or 2 bedrooms, and then I want to say like a couple 1 bedrooms.
Yeah, I am looking for Vivian's email now, her text. Okay. Yeah, 42 2 bedrooms. Okay. 2 bedroom, 1 bath. We'll just call those B2. B2. We've got 42. And we'll leave the square footage alone because we'll just leave that alone for right now. Take all this extra stuff. And what I'm doing here is just taking out inputted information that does not apply to this property so that we can have a clean worksheet. But the reason I use this one was because I know it all the cells work. And that's important to me. Thick. Let's just do a left border for now. All right. So we got 42 2-bedrooms, and the 1-bedrooms, we have 8. All right. And so it's total 50 units. We'll leave that square footage there. And let's just leave that rents in, let's just leave those rents in there, because based on what based on what our potential client can pay, Kalani sent me rent comps, so let me pull those up. And let's see what those look like. So here we are. This is actually the property. This is our subject property. Those windows aren't boarded up. It looks like they are, but it's not. So it shows, 1965, 53 parking spaces, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Asking rents right now, she's getting $900 a month in rent. Here are the competitors' comps of 1230. Now this is data from CoStar that was pulled today. Sub-market total, so they've got some good indicators of the number of units in the sub-market. Got to be careful with the sub-market, because that actual sub-market for this property is a much greater neighborhood, like 5-star versus this. So sometimes we have to be careful with that. But we've got some $1,230 rents here. Unit breakdown 625 square foot and 725. 809.02 per unit effective rent. Okay, let's see what the comps are. Well, she pulled a full-blown property report. Comps. Average 1230 per unit. Okay. Get your loss. See, these are 2,400. Those are really nice. That's in that sub-market that I was talking about. No, they're only 3-star. So you can imagine what a 5-star property in that same neighborhood would be. 22 over $2, over $250 a foot. Okay. So this property right here is right around the corner from that. So you see that they're getting 542 or 629 and 721, considerably less than what she's getting. That's not a comp. Number one. Number two, that's not a comp.
I'll then explain why it's not.
Okay. So the reason I say that these are not comparable properties, take a look at this picture on number one. It is a 3-story structure, 1 building, really nice. And the main thing is it's on Commerce, which is downtown Dallas. So that is literally only a couple of blocks away from us, but it's like going across the railroad track. The other side of the tracks make a big difference. It's on the other side of the freeway. So that's the differentiator here.
Now,
This
sorry, I just want to add
No, help me
more
out.
color to the conversation. So when you're dealing with a property like we have, which is there are not a lot of comps for this property. What do you do when you run into those situations?
Okay. Well, here's a property right here that is on Malcolm X, which is really right around the corner from this property. It's really nice. You see it's gated. It's got $1.39 a square foot in rents. So this would be a true comp for this particular property. This one's not because it's 7 stories. This one's not. You can tell it's newer built. It's 4 stories. And I don't even know where that street is, but it's not in the, I do know exactly where that is. It's right around the corner, but it's a 4-story property and it was built just a couple of years ago. Compared to this 2-story property that needs a lot of work. So here's another one that's probably a comp. It's not too far away. It's got 64 units and the rents are $1.17 a foot. So now, what does all of this mean when it comes to just looking at comps in the immediate area? What it means for us is this. So I've got our rents at $12.45, which is $2.13 a square foot. And let's double check the square footage of these units because that's important as well. Average. I don't want the average. I want the real numbers. 625 and 725. 625 and 725. So now when we're looking at our rent prices, we've got our prices at $12.45 in the $2.09 per square foot range. When we're looking at those comps that we just looked at, the ones that are true comps are nowhere close to that. Trying to make this smaller so we can hurry up and get there. Here was one at $1.28 a foot, $1.39 a foot. The only one that was over $2 was the one I said was nowhere near because it's close to downtown. So, and this one on Al Lipscomb Way at 2700 Al Lipscomb Way is literally right around the corner. And this at $1.17 a foot in rents. So what does that mean? Brittany asked that question. What we're looking for here is what I think we're gonna need. 1255. Let's see what that does. Nope. Okay, 1290. 1350. 1375. 1395. There we go. So what I did was I got both of those over $2 a foot in rents. Now, why would I do that? That means that I am going to assume that even though this property is in an area that only gets $1.30 a foot in rents, I'm assuming that I can push those rents to $2 a foot. And that means that I'm assuming that I can make that property look better than this one and as good as this one. And with my improvements. And better than this one because it's in the same almost vicinity, but look at the rents. And they've got 8% vacancy. When you see a vacancy over here at 0%, that means the rents are too low. So that means he's got room to push rents because he's at 0% vacancy. This, even though he's got 56 units and nobody has moved out, rents are way too low. This one's got 7.9%. I don't know the square footage of those units. I don't really want to go through it, but there will be some more work you could do to see based on that square foot price, how big are the units. The units could be bigger and have more rent, but we're not going to dig into that yet because I don't want to get off on that rabbit trail. See, here's another one on Al Lipscomb Way, and this one's at $1.06 per foot. So we're not going to compare that. We're assuming that based on amenities and the way we can make it look, we can get rents at $2 a foot. Okay, how do we do that? Well, we said, and we're going to have to come back to this part. This is a T12, trailing 12 income and expense. I believe we're going to have to come back to that. So this thing has 50 units. And we said, but I know with 50 units, we can turn 50 units in about 6 months if they're all empty. So what we will do is we will bring on 15 units in month number 8, 15 units in month number 9, 15 units in month number 10, and 5 units in month number 11. And that way we have all 50 units accounted for within the first year. And we can have this property stabilized within a year. Okay. Now, come on down here. And what we need is, are we going to have any additional income on this particular property? So right now, there are no laundry vending facilities. And I don't know that we even have room for that. So we're going to take that out. We know we won't have covered parking in there because we won't. Now, do we want to have a, I'll say no. That was a fee for trash. And so what we'll do, we got 50 units. We'll say that 15 of them will pay late every month because that happens. We've got 50 app fees, forfeited deposits. We'll say 10 of those. That's 20%. That's high. We'll say one of those. And utilities. These utilities are paid by the residents. So, but what we will do is we will charge them $30 for water. And then internet, we can provide the internet and we can charge them that. So that way we can get some additional income coming in. And look, boy, that is significant. $80,000 a year in additional income because we're going to make 45,000 of it on the internet. Everybody needs the internet. We can buy the internet on the curb for about 35 or $40 a door, and then we can upsell it to the resident for $75. So that little $80,000 a year, I'm going to show you what it's going to do for us. So this property, typically what I'm doing here is for every 100 units, we have one person on the inside of a property and one person on the outside. So 100 units, you've got a manager / leasing person and a maintenance person. 200 units, you've got a manager / assistant manager, maybe a leasing agent, part-time or something like that, depending on the age of the property. And then you typically have 2 outside people. That's why it's really difficult to buy and manage a property that has less than 100 units because you can't allocate a full-time staff to it. This property has 50 units. There's no way that we can allocate a $50,000 a year manager to this property or any other manager, porter, or any of that other stuff. So, but what we can do is we can allocate, and I'll show you what we have to do here. So let's take a position and we'll call it manager / maintenance for this particular property and call it $50,000 a year. Now that seems high, but it does, and it is, but I'll tell you why I have to do that. When you get down into your underwriting process for a agency loan, Fannie, Freddie, HUD, anybody doing a small balance loan, there's certain things that they look for that you have to almost have when you're predicting your expenses. And the thing you just saw me deal with was payroll, and I put $50,000 here, where the expectation on any property for payroll expenses is minimum $1,000 a unit per door. So when you put in that $50,000 a year salary, you know, people think, oh, I make $50,000 a year, they could pay me more. guess what? That $50,000 whining ass just cost me extra $10,000 because that includes the payroll burden of expenses, and that's at 21%. Sometimes payroll burden expenses go up to 25%, which I think that's about where we are now. So that employee that's whining cost me $12,500. So they really cost you $62,500. But when we come down here, that gives me over $1,000 a unit. And that's what my underwriters look for when they are looking at a property like this. General and administrative costs, we don't need to be that high on a property like this. Typically we can be somewhere between 100 and 150. 150 and 250 per door. Marketing and advertising, we'll take this down to $500. I'm sorry, we're going to take this down to $6,000. That's $500 a month. Payroll is already factored in. Repair and maintenance. This number on a newly refurbed rehab unit, somewhere about $450 a unit. So where we need to be here is we're going to be about 25,000. Let's see what that does. A little bit high. Man, I'm getting good with these numbers. And same thing for make ready. So these units are going to be really made over already. But what I will do is I will leave this. I'm going to put about $19,000 here. And that gets me over the 350, but less than 450 per unit. We're going to be new. Pest control, $9,500 a year. Oh, and excuse me. You see this thing says year one budget. These are annualized numbers, not on a monthly basis. And so then we talk about pest control. They usually charge us about $9 per door. So let's call it $10 a door per month. So that's 50, that's $600 a year. Landscaping this little bitty property will be, call it $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. Utilities, we're going to provide the water and only house lights and things like that, porch lights, parking lot lights, lights around the building. Those are the things that we typically carry. And I think let's call that $15,000 a year. That's about $1,200 a month. And I think that'll get by. There are professional fees. That can be about $10,000 a year. That is typically, and actually for here, it could be $5,000 a year. That's evictions and paying lawyers and junk like that. And even if we don't use it 1 year, we always roll that over, because what'll happen, you'll have a clown that'll have a slip and fall accident. And you think that doesn't matter, but they can say, oh, I fell in a hole and I tripped and I twisted my ankle, and they're going to sue you for a gazillion dollars. Well, guess what? You know, it's a frivolous lawsuit, but they went and hired an attorney. And in order to make that attorney go away, you're going to have to pay them, period, point blank. That's it. End of the story. And so a lot of times those little frivolous lawsuits, just write a check for $5,000-$10,000 and they go away. But it always costs you money. Let's see, real estate taxes. We've got our taxes surely not at not based on that. Where that came from an equation here. We will put our acquisition cost here to do this at $5,000. We will call this joint venture PPM cost $5,000. Those are all legal expenses. This particular deal is $4 million is the asking price for it. There's no development of land expenses here. There's no hard cost contingency here. So I will zero this out. Municipal fees, there are none. Zero. Yep. Interest reserve, we'll leave that number, but it's not going to be that much. We're going to have a senior loan fee typically of about, let's call it 80,000. Let's call it $100,000. And I got that number because typically our lender on a rehab deal like that charges us 2%. So we've got 2% of that number, and then we're going to have another number down here that I will show that we're going to have a total cost of about $5 million. And then we've got a legal fee, another legal fee of closing of $25,000. So you think this stuff is cheap to get lawyers to do all this stuff and go over contracts and yada, yada, yada. It's really not. It may be 15,000 because it's a small deal, but it's the same amount of paperwork as if it's worth $100 million deal. Doesn't matter. It's the same amount of paperwork. And then if we have a broker on this deal, this broker can charge us another $50,000. Closing costs on a deal like this is typically, let's put this at 25,000. It's typically about 3 or 4%. And I'm just overing everything because I want to make sure that we are good. And then on performance bond, I'm going to change this to rehab budget. And we said we would make that $1 million. So we got $5.1 million in true costs. So then when we get back over here to my, this actually should be based off of equals. Where's that $9 million number coming from? What the? F185. Man, you got to learn how to read these spreadsheets. Okay, plus F170. F170. Oh, I know what that is. Okay, plus F163. Because I left this in, there's an interest reserve. So this interest reserve number, let's take this out for a minute. So we're at 5.2 million total cost right now. That interest reserve is based on this right here. So we've got a loan amount, total cost of 5.2. We're going to assume we're going to get an 80%. Let's call it, let's be safe, at 75% of cost loan. And so that's 3.9 million. That's 8.5% interest rate. That's almost about right for today's climate. And so when we come down here to the amortization schedule, it tells us that based on that, our principal and interest payment is $330,000 a year. So this interest reserve that I put here is typically 1 year's worth of interest, or however much interest I think I'm going to need for that particular time period when we've got those units empty. We know that we said we were going to bring units online, I think in month number 6 or 7, somewhere on here. Yep, right here. Oh, yeah, month number 8. But I accounted for a year's worth of interest. So if something goes wrong, we're good. We're to the good on an interest reserve number. So we got all of our operating expenses here. We've got acquisition, legal, and all that good stuff here. This is the hard cost of hard purchase costs. Let's just put this hard. Let's just put purchase price. Yeah, PRCHASC. Purchase price. There's no development of land, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now we're at $5.5 million all in to make this thing. That's the total capital stack. Here's our loan amount of 4 point. What happened? They were using a private lender, 5 point that. We got 75% of cost. That, okay, $4.1 million loan amount, 8.5% interest, 385. I don't know what happened. My interest changed. When I put that in, my interest changed. Okay. And these are just other scenarios. So if you were using a Fannie loan, you could put that scenario here. If you were using another loan here, you could put that here. If you had a second lien, you could put that here. We use those a lot when I can. And if you had a mezz loan, and a mezzanine loan is, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so here we are. First lien debt, blah, blah, blah. Now, on a new construction deal, if I thought that I couldn't stabilize this deal and needed a bridge loan, I would build it, and then I would do another loan, which is what we call a bridge to stabilization, where I'm lowering my interest rate from an 8.5 to assuming a 5% rate on a bridge. That's if I couldn't stabilize it in the time frame that I needed to make this thing work. And then in that case, if I needed to, I'd refinance it again a third time. We're not going to need to do that with this property because we will be able to stabilize this in year number 1. And look, this is assuming now, these are some assumptions that we can get $2 a foot in rent. And that's not bad. I mean, that's cheap. Let's come to our pro forma. Sorry. Wow. Okay. So I'm just looking at a couple of things. I'll show you what I'm looking at when we get back there. So on this deal, it's 50 units. We know we're going to stabilize it in the first year. There's no need to do anything else after we get all the rents up. So what we will project is that in year 2, at the end of year 2, we will come in and refinance this at 75% of the value of the property. And let's use a 6 cap. And based on that 6 cap, this is ridiculous, y'all. Based on that 6 cap, we'll do a 1-year interest-only loan. Look at the value. And let's use a 6% interest rate. We took the value of this thing in 1 year from 5.5 million all in to where'd that go? To 10 million, 9.6 million at the end of 2 years. And if we refinance at the end of year 2, we could pull out $2 million and distribute and pay off all the partners. And then if we come back and refinance again at the end of year 5, we've got a $13 million value. And let's use a 6% cap rate. And let's use a 5% interest rate 5 years from now. Got $11 million value. If we did a 68% loan and pull out another $3 million. Now let's come over here to my pro forma and see what happens. So year 1, we know it's 0. So here, after year 2, oh my God, we got 3.92% debt service coverage ratio. We refinance at the end of year 2. We raise the debt amount from 4 million, whatever it was, 4,000,001 to $7 million. We pull out $2.9 million cash and pay everybody off. And that raises our loan amount. So our debt service coverage drops because our loan amount went up. So then we ride this out to the end of year 5. I think that's what it says on the input. At the end of year 5, we refinance one more time with $11.1 million valuation, pull out another $3 million. I'm sorry, I'm just screaming because this shit is so exciting. At the end of year 7, you can sell it for a $13 million value. You got another $2 million you pull out at the end of the sale. And that's based on us assuming that if we spent close to $1 million on this thing, that we could get that kind of rent. And based on a master lease that I know we can get, I know that we can achieve these level of rents tomorrow. So that's all I got to say. This deal is like a smoking damn deal. I don't care what the old expenses used to be, because we're kicking everybody out and won't have any expenses. We're bringing everybody into a newly renovated property with new rents, paying that much. And in 2 years, oh, hang on, let me check this out. I don't want don't confuse nobody. Shit, I don't want to be confused.
Now, Alvin, because like I'm familiar with this deal.
Now, hold on. At
Okay.
the end of year 7, the investors that put in this deal, if we were to raise, now there is a man. Okay, purchase price. Where'd that come from? Equals F185. F185. Oops. F187, baby. Okay. And that's a high expense ratio. Oh, you know why? Because of this. We didn't come all the way down. We didn't finish this. Real estate taxes is where I left off. Okay, that's right. Insurance on this thing is going to be about $600 a door. So $600 a door, that's $30,000. No, my next door property went to $800 a door. So let's call it 42,000. And internet, we only got 50 units times 50 times 35 equals times 12 equals 21,000. 36% expense ratio. Oh my God, this thing just printed more money. 29% return for the investors. And that is raising an amount equal to $1.4 million. And in this, well, hang on. That's not true. Needs to be a little bit more than that. Raise $1.6 million. Spreadsheet does the rest. I mean, and what this assumes is that the general partner puts in no money. We raise 10% of the equity from, or this 10% GP share is, I'll show you where the general partner receives only 10% of the cash flow until the investors reach a 15% hurdle. So what that means is the investors get 90% of the cash flow until they get a minimum of 15% on their money. And how do I know that? Is because I set that bar right here. They get cash flow of 10% until 15% hurdle. And then it goes to 50-50. And so what that represents here is after they have received their 15%, this payout here, proceeds, everything gets split 50-50. And then on the sale, it gets paid again. It gets split again, 50-50, 26% return. Something changed, but this is on a real high level of underwriting to see if this deal is worth paying $4 million and spending $1 million on it. And assuming, I know if we spend $1 million on this thing, that's $20,000 a unit, it will be absolutely amazingly beautiful. And from that, if we can achieve $2 in rents of $1,235 and $1,245 per month, or $1,395 per month, plus a $20, let's see what else I had. What else did I put in here? $30 for water, $75 for internet. Oh, this thing makes sense. And the internet is equivalent to cable, because if you got cable and a smart TV, you don't have, you can pull the plug. But there you go. Any questions from anyone? I know I made this look super easy. We walked through this 10,000 tabs on here in less than 30 minutes, but it really, really is that easy. It's really only based off of your purchase price. It's based off of your rent amounts. It's based off of your assumptions. Oh, and let me do this. What this is OpEx dampening. And I need to change that. Because what that'll do, all right. What this is OpEx dampening, that's operational expenses dampening. Because we have this property and we are going to renovate it, all of these operational expenses that we have here should not flow through for year one, or at least 6 months of year one. So what I did was I put OpEx dampening somewhere of 50% here, meaning for the first 6 months of the year, those expenses won't flow through. And we've got 5% rent growth every year, vacant for 6 months out of the year, economic vacancy, other income growth, and that's pretty much it. This is a real simple deal. And when it spits out a pro forma that has, of course, we know year one is negative. Year two has a really healthy, oh, hang on. That's an input number for me. A really healthy debt service coverage. And then when we refinance, we have to stay above a 120 debt service coverage. So I know we are good here. And and then on the next refinance, I think it was year 3, 4, 5, we refinanced here. And you can see each time we refinance, the debt changes. The debt goes up every time because we're going up in principal balance amount each time. And so, and the DTI or debt service coverage ratio on each of those loans is still above 120. So on this particular loan right here, on that loan that was at the end of year 5, because that debt service coverage was so high, let's take that to 75%. Let's see what happens. It drops to 118. So what I would say, I'll take that to 72%, come back to the performance at 123, and that puts us pulling out almost $4 million at the end of year 5. So on this deal, pay $4 million for it. We rehab it with $1 million. We get the best of the best renovations to this thing at $20,000 a unit. We lease it at average of $202 per square foot. We charge rents. We charge a water expense. We charge an internet expense. And at the end of the day, at the end of year 2, we distribute $3 million in proceeds. At the end of year 5, we distribute almost $4 million in proceeds. And at the end of year 7, we sell a Mickey for $14 million. And there's another $2.8 million in proceeds.
Hey, Alvin, can you remind me what the square footage is for the units, like average square footage?
625 and 725. 625 on the ones and 725s on the twos. Average is 709.
Got it.
And this is what I call a home run. So if anybody's interested in joining the Women in Real Estate, look them up on Instagram, look them up on YouTube, look them up on Facebook. Kalani, Blackwell, Brittany Rose, they put together national teams. There's a team in a major city near you. If it's not, you may be the answer to that problem. Look up Multifamily Monopoly. We're all over the place. We're becoming omnipresent. If you are interested in investing in this deal or a deal like this, we're not raising money today, but these are the types of deals that we put together. And this particular deal is being put together with the Women in Real Estate. So if you guys are interested in any of that, any kind of participation, any of that, reach out to Brittany, reach out to me. You can go to contact@multifamilymonopoly.com. Brittany, give them your contact information, please.
Sure. You can reach me at Brittany@joinwomeninrealestate.com or Kehlani@joinwomeninrealestate.com. Those are our email addresses. Easiest way for you to reach me, though, is probably Instagram. women.in.real estate, or B as in Brittany dot the boss.
A B dot the boss or women dot in dot real estate.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the share and I'm gonna stop the recording and then we can talk about it if y'all have any questions.
Perfect. I
Well, I'll
love this.
just leave it going. I'll just stop the share and then let's talk about it.
Okay. I really liked going through this. I know I'm gonna have to watch it again because I was trying to do all the tech stuff, which I could not get the audio working on the live shares.
Hey, Ahmed.
Ahmed's been, oh, you couldn't see him because you were screen sharing, but
I'm like a ninja.
and hey Standis and hey Keisha.
Hey, Larry and
Hey,
Keisha and
Larry.
Standis. I could see Standis's face just because the way my camera was positioned or my side thing. But you said you like going through this, Brittany?
I did
Okay.
like going through it. So the 20, you said it was gonna be 205 per square foot.
Average $2, 202, 205.
Okay.
It was
And that-
what 12 something, 1235 and 1255 or something like that a month.
And that also kind of accounts for the master lease plan that we have.
I think I don't know Standis's numbers, but I think those rent numbers leave her a lot of room.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And the purpose is not to milk that side of the cow. The purpose is just to make the real estate work to where everybody can win on the real estate. And then her business is her business and she gets to make whatever she can make from her business.
I agree. That's perfect.
202, 205. That's a market number you put in there.
That is a market number, Ahmed, for a property that is really nicely renovated. There's one that's 2 blocks away on the same side of the freeway from us. That's the only one. My
Yeah.
property next door, I can't go to $2 a foot because it's an affordable property with tax credits on it.
Okay.
But it's going to be just as nice as this one is.
Yeah.
So this is what it takes to change the neighborhood too.
Yeah. All right. Good enough. Let's go.
Well, I'll reach out to hang on.
I guess the question is, what's worst case scenario? What if we renovate it and we can't get Standis is in there, or we just go market rate, and you think at those numbers it will work?
At those numbers today, I can tell you the people that are living there right now are paying her $900 a month.
Yeah.
If you renovated those units, they would stay there and pay you $1,250.
Yeah, it's only $300 more a month, whatever. Yeah.
And they're living there because she doesn't run background checks.
Yeah.
So they'd probably be from a tear up the property position, they might be a better client, resident than Standis's client.
Yeah. Well, then as long as, like you said, it's only a $300 per month rent bump. For most people, that could probably be fairly affordable. They can swing that somehow to make it for a very nice property. So worst case scenario, that's what it is.
I would say, I hate to say it this way, but if you don't have anywhere else to go, you're going to figure it out, right? And then if it's a super nice place to stay, then you almost want to figure it out. So I think let's think about it for the next couple of days. But I mean, I could reach out to the seller tomorrow, write a contract on it without any realtors involved, and she probably would accept it.
Ahmed, you're on
You muted yourself, Ahmed.
Can you share me your underwriting so I can take a look at it? Because I jumped
Yep,
on.
I'll send. Where did I save that little thing at?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
All right. And if you need vesting information or anything like that, do you want me just to? Do you want to create an LLC for it, or do you want to just go at it as is, and then we to be determined upon close of escrow type deal?
I think that'll probably be, we'll write a contract and our signs,
Yeah.
and then we'll get Nick involved and let Nick he'll set up all the entities and everything for us, and we won't have to do nothing except pay
We
him.
talked to Nick this afternoon. He's sending us over the like his how to get started email for
Mhm.
us to start formation of the fund and everything. So I think Alvin to be assigned is probably the way to go.
But would the fund take ownership of it right away, or would it be just an LLC entity of the GP and then it gets rolled into the fund comes in as an investor?
I think the fund comes in as the fund, they will syndicate raising the funds through their fund. And if we've got some first money in, then that money will just go in. And then when we close the transaction, the fund will come in as an equity partner, take out the first money
Yeah.
and roll forward.
Okay. Sounds good. Either way it works, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem. All right.
And so for the people that don't understand what I just said that may hear this later, we are putting together this 50 unit deal. We got a purchase price of $4 million. Oh, I can't open two of the things with the, yeah, $4 million. We're assuming we're gonna spend $1 million on it, renovating it. That's $20,000 a unit. That'll be more than enough. We're assuming that after that, we will get on average of about $2 and $2.02 to $2.05 in rents. We're gonna raise about $1.6 million in cash. Call it 1.7 million in cash. We're gonna do a 506A. Is that right, Brittany?
So we're doing a 50, no, I'm sorry, Reg D 506B.
Okay, Reg D 506B. Look it up if you don't know what it is. But you don't have to be an accredited investor to invest in this fund.
Actually, do not look it up. If you don't know what it is, join Women in Real Estate and go through Nick's course, because when you look it up, it still doesn't even make sense. Like
It sure
he needs
doesn't.
to sit down and explain it for you to understand it. And even then, you will need to refer back to the course to remember which is which. I'm 100% sure of that.
Join Women in Real Estate. Sign up for the 3-day boot camp for multifamily monopoly. You'll learn how to do this stuff.
And Women in Real Estate get a discount to
That's
the
right.
weekend.
That's right. The code for that discount and for extra special prizes for women in real estate is Boot Camp 8. So if you type in Boot Camp 8 for when you sign up for that boot camp, you'll receive all kind of a discount plus all kind of additional things from us and Women in Real Estate.
Hey, Alvin, when you get it under contract, I'll have my architect send over some elevation renderings on a potential.
We do.
Like, yeah, so the women in real estate can take it and go market with it. Because I have my cousin works at Gensler. So if you're familiar with Gensler, he works on $20 billion Dubai projects. So he'll knock out something in the weekend for us as a freebie. So as a renovated type look to the property, so you can go out and market it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Tell them to keep in mind that we are not spending Dubai money in South Dallas. So that
Listen, Dubai money is actually like not as much as it seems. Like
you're gonna have to help me on that one.
it's cheaper than New York and LA.
Well, where the plug at? Hold on.
That's the labor cost. That's why the labor cost is compared to us. That's why.